Hello everyone, you're watching You Got It with Warrior Woman 91.
And Jester Bell.
And Jester Bell.
Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics.
We're going to be talking about the upcoming movies that we are looking forward to seeing in the rest of 2019 and also going into 2020. And so I brought Theresa back on the show. This is actually her first time on You Got It with a video.
This is my face.
Yes, this is Theresa's face. And you can
it's
go
a very
over,
respectable face.
Can you tell everyone what your channel name is?
My channel name is Jester Bell, capital J, capital B. Go there for comic reviews currently. I'm working on doing movie reviews as well. But today we're going to be talking about it immediately.
Theresa's very excited to talk about movies. So give us a rundown. What are the movies in 2019? Just 2019. What do we... I mean, we're in the middle of October right now. So what are the movies in 2019 that we need to be looking forward to for the next 2.5 months?
2.5 months? Well, we need to be looking forward to the Harriet movie, which I know you're going to go see. And we need to be looking forward to Frozen 2. And... we kind of need to be looking we need to be looking at The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh.
I'm not sure about looking forward to it. But you could look forward to some things about, which I'm going to talk about. And then some other movies I might throw in there that I'm looking forward to, but you might not necessarily be like...
Just go ahead and rattle them
like,
off.
Russo brothers are making their new movie with Chadwick Boseman called 21 Bridges. And it's the Russos, so you know it's going to be good. And so I want to see that. And I also want to see Won't You Be My Neighbor, which stars Tom Hanks, which is... part of the Mr. Rogers franchise we are getting these days, which I will also expound upon, and it should be very enlightening for you because I don't think you're aware of it.
All right, well, so let's start off. I want to start off talking about Harriet because I did not know about this movie. I just stumbled upon it. I can't remember if it was you or if it was somebody else that posted the trailer. I think it was somebody else. Somebody posted the trailer on my Facebook. And occasionally, very rarely, but occasionally I actually do click and watch whatever video so-and-so has shared on my Facebook. And so I watched this one, and it was basically all the trailer is this black woman with a gun saving and like rescuing slaves. And it was just like, yeah! So I am 100% going to that movie. Like, I was sold within the first, like, probably 20 seconds of the trailer. I was like, I'm going to go see this movie. And I don't see a lot of social justice warrior in
the social
either.
justice warriors hate it.
Yeah, so give us the rundown on what's the reception been like for this trailer.
Well, I actually saw it myself because a guy named Jacob Airy on Twitter shared it.
I have no idea who that is.
It was, I think maybe he shared it as somebody named Rosemary Drewer was also tweeting about it. They were tweeting that, oh, wow, it's a movie that treats a Republican woman, a historical Republican woman, respectfully.
Let's clarify. She was not a Republican. She was a conservative. I mean, she would be on the right because she was anti-slavery.
Yeah, that's what it meant.
She couldn't actually vote.
Yeah, that's what they were getting at. But yeah. I actually looked at the trailer because I was curious, and I was amazed because usually they call them Oscar bait movies. They get some kind of historical narrative going. It means something. But I watched it, and I'm like, this actually looks like an amazing movie. This is what I care about. It's very well shot. They go on location for a lot of it. It's got a very interesting actress, and I have not heard the story of Harriet Tubman in a long time, and I didn't even remember it was her until the end. And so you get to see kind of the way history can be inspiring and exciting. I know it sounds cheesy, but to think that someone actually did this, that she actually crossed 100 miles to get free of slavery, and that she actually went back to help people, and that she actually became a general, which was shown briefly in the trailer at
That's
the end.
all the stuff that I like to see.
So
mostly the fact that it's a black woman with a gun.
Yeah, it's an actual... What I like so much about it is it's an actual strong woman.
Yeah. Because
so many of these strong female characters are really not really strong female characters, but when you actually see one that actually is a role model and actually is somebody who does very difficult things and very powerful things, it actually makes you excited. You want to go see that movie.
So you did talk about how they are making some changes. I mean, Harriet Tubman was a lot older.
Yeah, she was like almost grandmotherly by the time she did this. She lived most of her life in slavery, And I was reading just the Wikipedia article about how the times when she was beaten and forced to do things, and how she didn't escape until she was a lot older. Sorry. I think she looks like she's in her 40s. The actress looks like she's in her 40s or maybe early 50s.
I mean, that would be fair. I mean, grandmotherly age probably would be age at that point, because people didn't live as long.
Excuse me, but she sorry. She actually had like graying hair at the time, and this woman.
Theresa, I have graying hair.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you on your show. My hair's a mess. Anyway, but I like the actress they got to play her. I think it's okay if they make her a little bit younger than she might have actually been. But there is controversy, Kelly.
All right, what is the controversy?
The controversy is coming from social justice warriors who are furious and angry that this Harriet Tubman is being played by an actress. Her name is Cecilia, I believe. I don't remember her last name, but she is British. She's black and British, and they say that she needs to be American, African-American, and not British, or it will be an inaccurate and offensive portrayal. So what do you think about that, Kelly?
Well, I don't think that really matters. Like, if she does a good job and if she does the character justice, I don't really care. Like, it's not like there weren't slaves in Britain. Like,
yeah, she's an accomplished actress. She can do this.
Yeah, that's all I care about. Is she going to do the part justice? Is she going to play the part well? It doesn't really, like, it doesn't matter
it's
to
acting.
me. Here's the thing. You could get an African-American actor or actress, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are the descendant of slaves.
It's too logical. That's
just too much logic for people to handle, but it really doesn't matter. As long as they do a good job, I don't care.
My favorite argument, like, against this whole thing is, like, Chris Hemsworth isn't qualified to play Thor because he's not a Norse god. And I agree with that. No, I don't. I just think it's been offensive since day one.
It really has. I mean, I've really had a problem with Thor. I mean, the fact that they couldn't get the actual Thor, that's just, it's an injustice to the Norse people.
Yes.
And
actually, this is kind of funny. I did run into someone once in a high school that was angry. They said the Marvel Thor isn't accurate because Norse Thor had red curly hair, and he was like mad, and like, this is just so it's valid criticism. People get mad at this kind of thing.
I mean, I think people need to just calm down. I think I'm just excited that I saw a movie that seems to be... I didn't see any America bashing. I saw slavery bashing, and that's the kind of thing I want to see. I don't want to see America bashing. I do want to see the act of slavery bashing. I want to see because Democrats and people on the left don't want to see the story of Harriet Tubman told because she was not a liberal. She was not on their side. Because, I mean, she was not a Democrat. The Democrats were the ones who pushed forward slavery. They were the ones that had it, and it was the primary aspect of their party platform, much like abortion is today. And so that's why I was excited. This is like the only political movie I've ever been excited about. Yeah, it is kind of political because anything that is commentary on history is going to have some politics in it. But I'm really looking forward to it. It looks like a really good movie. I thought the trailer was fantastic. It hooked me, and I'm very excited about it. And when does it come out?
November 1st.
All right, so we got to get on seeing that. So what's the next movie? Let's go in chronological order and include the movies that I might not necessarily be interested in. What's the next movie coming out after that?
I think it's Won't You Be My Neighbor next, but I might be mixed up on that in 21 Bridges. But no, I think it's 21 Bridges next, so I'll go with that. This is a movie by Anthony and Joe Russo, who did Winter Soldier and Civil War and Infinity War and Endgame. Mm-hmm. And they are excellent directors, and I actually saw this trailer at first in Endgame, and it's got Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, and it's about a police officer's son who his father was killed in gun violence, street violence. And it's about how he's become a guy who kills, quote unquote, kills cop killers now because he shoots first and asks questions later. Mm-hmm. And how he gets caught up in this big situation in the city where basically there's some people who they've there's some other black people in the city who have been accused of killing cops when they were framed. And there's this well, the reason why it's called 21 Bridges is there's 21 bridges in and out of Manhattan where they're at, and he needs to shut them all down in order to lock down the city and figure out what's going on with this case. Mm-hmm. And so it's about him trying to put away his anger over his father getting killed in gang violence and to try to figure out what's actually happening. And I hope it's really good, because the Russos have done some pretty great things. I know Endgame had some flaws, but generally, especially when they have more of a condensed story and they don't have so many things to worry about, they tell really exciting stories, and I think that, and I'm excited to see something else with Chadwick Boseman in it. So I'll be seeing that. There might be some political race things involved, but no doubt. But I'm kind of at the point where I'm just like, if it's a good story, then I don't have to agree with it. Like, there's stuff in Star Trek I disagree with, but I can still like Star Trek. But yeah. Let's talk about Star Trek. No.
Star Trek is something that we can just go on about.
I heard an interview with someone who talked about putting politics in stories, and he said politics in stories work as long as the politics don't ruin the integrity of the story. Mm-hmm. Like, say, if you're an atheist and you're about to write Matt Murdock, but Matt Murdock is Catholic, and you're like, oh, I'm going to change this part of his character. That'd be an example of it ruining the integrity of the story. So I can watch this movie and like it, even if I don't agree with some of the parts.
Yeah, I mean, Lord of the Rings is a good example of being a Catholic influenced story, but atheists can watch the movie and still enjoy
I was saying, the guy who actually said this was an atheist, and he was talking about Tolkien. I'm an atheist, but I don't think that they should take because they did the Tolkien biopic and they took out his Catholicism, and he was saying, as an atheist, he disagrees with that because you can't remove what was a huge part of a guy's life when you're doing a biopic about him.
That's completely disgraceful to the memory of J.R.R. Tolkien to have done that.
Especially since in this Tolkien movie, they didn't focus on his religion, which is what he wanted to be remembered for in his work, and they focused on his war experience, which is what he keeps telling people that is not what influences my books.
Yeah, even though there are clear ties to his war experience.
But that's not what he wanted.
But that's not what he wanted.
We got a little off topic. Okay. Let's talk about Mr. Rogers.
Let's talk about Mr. Rogers.
Nice and calm.
Right.
Okay, so
let's calm me down.
We have to
Mr. Rogers.
To talk about this one, I think it comes out in November. We have to go back because last year there was a documentary on the life of Mr. Rogers. It was called I think it was just called Mr. Rogers. It was called It's a Beautiful Day. And it was a huge documentary. I think it got to the Academy Awards, and people were just all awe-inspired to hear about the life of Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, and it became a sensation. A sensation you didn't know about. But then this year
I don't follow this stuff as seriously as you do.
I just hear people talking about it. Anyway, so this year they're coming out with a fictionalized account of the life of Fred Rogers. It's called, I think That Was a Beautiful Day. This is called Won't You Be My Neighbor? So here we go with this stuff. It stars Tom Hanks playing Fred Rogers, and it's about this journalist. This is a true story that happened, obviously told in a movie, where this journalist was going to do an expose on Mr. Rogers. You're just mesmerized. He was going to do an expose on Mr. Rogers, and he thought he was going to find some real dirt on the guy.
Yeah.
Some real horrible things. And he found out, oh no, he really is just Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks, Woody, is playing him, and he actually does a pretty good job, although I think this might sound insulting, but I think the makeup needs to make him look a little older than he is. But I'm interested just because there's a bit of buzz around it, and I actually do kind of like Mr. Rogers. And the funny thing was, on the day that this trailer was released, the reason I keep saying it's like a Mr. Rogers franchise now is all of a sudden everyone got Mr. Rogers videos in their recommendations, and you got the Mr. Rogers suicide video.
Oh, I know.
No, Mr. Rogers didn't commit suicide.
No, it was Mr. Rogers. Somebody edited. You can go and Google this. Somebody edited it was somebody calling the suicide hotline. And they edited it so that it was clips of Mr. Rogers talking, and the lady on the other end is just like so confused because it's Mr. Rogers with these weird statements that obviously were taken out of context and edited into this, but it's hilarious. That's completely off topic. One thing that I do get frustrated with is this the milking of the nostalgia, and I've talked about this before on my show, but this whole Mr. Rogers franchise, as you call it, it is milking the nostalgia. It's making money off of a dead guy's legacy, and I just, especially in light of how they handled that J.R.R. Tolkien biopic, I don't like to see them do that. It just kind of sullies the memory of these people to just try and milk them. Like, if you're gonna do something respectful and nice and just to kind of memorialize, then that's one thing. But this okay, now we're coming out with another move. First we'll do a biopic, and then we'll do a movie, and Mr. Rogers is now a superhero
and
running around in his underwear.
Space.
Mr. Rogers goes to space.
He joins the Infinity Gauntlet.
He joins Trump's Space Force to go and get the Infinity Gauntlet, and then he rescues Black Widow, who really isn't dead. And he
throws his shoes off of the ledge to give up something he loves.
Oh my God!
He threw off Mr. McFeely.
Okay,
this is why I want to go see this movie. Mr. McFeely, will you come in, please? I have something to do.
Okay. So
normally we would say let's go to a break, but we have to talk about another. Speaking of milking things, Disney likes to milk things, and they're making a Frozen sequel.
Now that's a sequel I can get behind, because the animation on that movie looks phenomenal. It looks like somebody went in Minecraft, extracted all of the diamonds and emeralds and all of the precious metals you could find from Minecraft, and then recreated them in real life, and then gave them to Disney and said, okay, use all of this. These diamonds are going to be what you use to pay for the animation for this movie.
And Disney took a pickaxe and went...
But the budget on Frozen 2 looks like they pulled out all the stops. It is probably going to be the best animated movie, just as far as animation quality, that has ever existed. That does not mean that the movie is going to be phenomenal. That just means the animation is going to be phenomenal. I have high hopes for the story. I'm trying to keep my expectations tempered. I think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be fantastic, but I'm looking forward to it for the animation alone. I'm very excited.
Well, I think the story has the potential. Again, I don't want to get my hopes up either, but I think the story has the potential to be really good, because they're actually... the problem with a lot of Disney sequels is they tend to just tell the same story in a different skin. This one sounds like they're actually going to develop the characters and their relationships more. And I was just seeing an interview with one of the writers today where they said they're actually going to explore how Anna and Elsa actually don't know that much about each other because they were isolated for so long, and so there's kind of still a disconnect there.
Yeah.
And we're going to see Elsa kind of be tempted a bit more to magic and that side, and Anna keeps wanting to pull her back. So they actually seem like they have a plot this time around, and it's not just rehashing exactly. Well, I guess there's different themes that are similar.
I'm really hoping this is something that all franchises seem to struggle with, or most franchises seem to struggle with, is having a fully developed villain. That is the one thing that I think is lacking from the trailer. I don't see a villain outside of Elsa potentially being a villain, but it was one of the glaring flaws in the first Frozen movie, that the villain didn't really exist.
Well, that's because they and Frozen started this very bad trend, because they did the twist villain in Frozen and it actually wasn't that well set up. And it started this pattern where every Disney movie needs to have a twist villain. And it's always this character that they don't develop, or they develop as a completely different character to try to subvert the expectations. And by the time they come out, you're like, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And and
you can predict
there's no
it.
Stakes. There's nothing to make me excited about.
You know, whoever it is, it's going to be a twist villain. It actually becomes not a twist anymore. You know it's coming.
Yeah, because you just have to look at, okay, which is the most unsuspecting character, and then you find out, oh, it was that guy. Okay.
Or which is the most unsuspecting character.
Yeah, if we just double, triple, and quadruple this, then we'll get it right. Well, why can't you just have a fully developed, like Maleficent, the Queen and Snow White? Those were fully developed villains. They scared the crap out of you when you were a kid. They scare the crap out of you now. I'm actually going to go home and watch Sleeping Beauty when I get home.
And then go to bed and cry.
No. Something like that. But those are the villains. Like, I watched Sleeping Beauty for Maleficent. And there's a reason why Maleficent got her own movie, not Sleeping Beauty.
And they blew that up because they misunderstood
I know.
The character.
They blew that, but the reason, like, Sleeping Beauty, nobody cares about her. Everybody cares about Maleficent and her turning into a dragon and all of that. And of course, people care about Snow White, the character, because she was, more developed than Sleeping Beauty. But still, the driving force behind that movie is still the villain. Now, I'm not saying you have to have an underdeveloped hero in order to have a fully developed villain. On the contrary, you should have both. That's what the definition, I think, of good movie writing and good story writing in general is you need to have a fully developed plot, you need to have a fully developed hero, and you need to have a fully developed villain. Those are the three elements for me that I think are the most important.
I'm raising my hand.
All right, go ahead.
What I was going to say is it might not be a physical person who's a villain in this movie. It might be, because there's, if you know the different... it's like the 7 conflicts possible. It can be man versus nature. It can be, it doesn't necessarily have to be. It could even just be an emotional, personal conflict. So let's see that. I'm interested in the plot for that. I also like the animation because a lot of people say, and I've said this before, that, well, it's just Disney throwing out their money and showing, and it is. But they look like they put in the time for the lighting and having each character wear different clothes in each scene to make it feel more real, which I know you're very pleased with. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of dolls, and I bet that was the real motive, to have lots of dolls. And so it looks like they actually put the effort in making it look amazing, and it's going to be absolutely gorgeous to watch. Toy Story 4 had a bad story, but really great animation, so I'm hoping that this is good story and good animation.
Well, good animation, I think I'm going to enjoy the plot really could be horrible, and I will still enjoy the movie for the animation alone. Well, that's how good this animation is.
Well, that's because it's 50% visuals. The visuals can carry you by. Just ask people who like The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And on that note,
let's talk about The Last Jedi.
No, The Rise of Skywalker.
All right, yeah, let's talk about all the disaster. We can't talk about The Rise of Skywalker without talking about The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi was a disaster, and now it kind of made it so that The Rise of Skywalker can be nothing but a disaster. And no one wants to go see it because a lot of people... Well, some people want to go see it, and we're going to get into the reasons why.
I want to go see it so I can watch a car accident.
Yeah, so a lot of people are just tired and angry about Star Wars, so they don't want to go see it anymore. But then we got a plot leak about The Rise of Skywalker in terms of what happens.
So I'm going to give the spoiler alert because I did talk about this on my last episode with Aaron Bandler. And we did not talk about spoilers on that episode. This episode, we are going to spoil the crap out of everything. So if you don't want to hear anything, get off now.
We don't have too much time, so I'll just give the quick rundown. It tries to fix some things, like showing Leia training with Luke in the beginning and Leia training Rey a little bit. Then the script kind of devolves into Last Jedi territory where Kylo Ren has to find the Wayfinder for some reason, and he has to find Palpatine, and major spoilers, Palpatine is rumored to be Rey's grandfather. And in the leaked script of the movie, it doesn't explain how this is possible. And we have, like Force ghosts. Like, Luke is going to come back as a Force ghost, and Leia's going to come back as a Force ghost, and they're actually going to be picking things up and giving people lightsabers, and Rey is going to renounce the Jedi, and they accept them again, and then fight Palpatine with Kylo, and then the zinger is Luke and Leia are supposed to come back as Force ghosts and physically fight Palpatine, and Star Wars is dead! This
is going to be the worst movie I've ever seen.
And I kind of want to see it because of how hilarious it sounds.
It's going to be so bad. It's going to be so bad. I don't know.
I think it'll have a good-sized opening from people like us who want to see the wreckage. But most people who want to go, who are willing to go see it, will go opening weekend. This isn't going to be repeat showings. I'm sure Mahler will see it like 3 times to make his videos.
Here's the thing that... The thing that's going to make them money is all the people that made names and careers for themselves off of trashing The Last Jedi, because it became a very popular thing to do, regardless of whether it was a bad movie or not. It became very popular to trash The Last Jedi in YouTube videos, and a lot of people, Mahler for example, made careers for themselves off of trashing that movie, and so they're now obligated to go and see this next movie
to make their new reviews
and to trash that,
because everyone is expecting them to do that,
and everybody is going to be going to see the movie so that they can then go and trash it online later. So they are going to make money off this movie. They're just going to make a lot of hate money off of the movie.
Yeah, and a lot less money. One of the things they were talking about on Twitter, And sometimes movie views, like the number of views a movie has on YouTube doesn't mean anything, because Endgame had less views than Infinity War's trailer, and that was merely because there wasn't as much because they weren't showing as much. There wasn't as enough people to go back and see. Mm-hmm. But they keep pointing out, The Last Jedi, the Rise of Skywalker, that's a terrible name, by the way. The first trailer has 33 million views. The first trailer for Joker, which is the big fall movie right now, had 54 million views. Mm-hmm. So that movie has more views than a Star Wars movie.
This is so... Okay, so as of the recording of this episode, the Star Wars trailer hasn't come out yet.
The actual trailer. I was talking about the teaser.
Yeah, she was talking about the teaser. The actual trailer has not come out yet. This episode will air 1 week after the potential release, so we might have a trailer by the time you guys are watching this episode. But the fact that it's mid-October and there is no Star Wars trailer and we're 2.5 months out, like, where's the trailer? Where, like, I mean, there was a lot of denial about The Last Jedi among Disney people saying, oh, no, it was a great movie, you guys just are racist against Asians or whatever. If that's so true, why aren't they trying to hype this up? Why aren't they trying to get us excited? Yeah, Star Wars, and then a trailer, and then a second trailer, and then a third trailer. There's usually a set of 3 trailers leading into a movie. We haven't even seen the first one. We've had a teaser out for the last 15 years that, wasn't received that well, but we haven't had a trailer. And it's October. It's the middle of October. We're almost to November, and we might
not get till the end of October.
We might not get the trailer until the day.
We might never get the trailer.
We might not get the movie at this point.
We just decided to pack it up and reel it in.
We just decided there's no pleasing anybody anymore because we just ruined the last one, and we are sorry, but we're not going to.
We're not sorry, actually, but we're still going to release it. So, moving on to brighter topics.
So, because after the funeral that will be The Rise of Skywalker, then we will be reborn in 2020. Now, I would like you to, as you did with the 2019 films, please list off the films that we should be most excited for 2020 at this point.
Well, 2020 actually has some movies I need to skip, but the fun starts in March with Mulan. And then I
did not realize Mulan was coming out in March, but continue.
And then it continues in May with Black Widow. Mm-hmm. And then it trickles along into June with Wonder Woman 1984.
Just a lot of really... it's become very popular to talk about strong female characters and talk about how important it is to have female leads and all of that. And, so far, I haven't seen any good female leads. Can you think of any female leads other than Wonder Woman that have been really good?
She hasn't
she hasn't been a lead of her own movie yet.
Well, technically...
female leads in movies. I haven't... in
movies you have seen, because I know plenty that you haven't seen.
Captain Marvel, for example.
No, she's not good.
Not a good example. It's just... I cannot think... Other than Gal Gadot, I haven't heard of any new female leads in movies that have been actually good. And I'm not trashing women being leads as movies. I just haven't seen anything good. And just because you have a female lead does not automatically mean it's a strong female character or that it's a good movie, that the character writing was good or that the plot was interesting. None of that seems to matter to anybody anymore. If we just shoehorn Tariel in The Hobbit, or if we just shoehorn whoever it happens to be into another movie and just call it's a strong female character, so then that means that it's good. That's not how this works.
However, it looks like we might have some potentially good, strong female movies.
That's what I'm excited about. Harriet. That's an actual strong female character. And hopefully it'll be well-developed plot in the movie. And hopefully it'll be semi-historically accurate. Rey in Star Wars is not going to be an example of a strong female character.
Let's talk about Mulan now.
But Mulan, that's going to be an example of a strong female character. I hope there's not too much social justice warrioring in it.
I don't think there should be, because actually what I'm getting at is they're really trying to appeal.
This is not it.
They're really trying to appeal to China with this movie, because China, I can't. It's backwards. China actually did not like the first Mulan because it was not accurate. It was not accurate to the legend of Mulan. The legend of Fa Mulan is what it's called, or something like that. Yeah. They didn't like it because it wasn't accurate. So this movie, which is actually a nice departure from the rest of the live-action Disney remakes, they're actually doing something different with this and making it less Disney and more like that legend, that Chinese legend. You know, it's going to be more of a war-oriented movie. No singing. There's no talking cartoon dragons.
So you did say, though, that Shang was not going to be in this movie.
He's not, but I can't remember if people were saying he actually was in the original or not. He's replaced by another character, which I think, I don't know if it's someone she meets in the camp. I think it's someone she meets. And that was the one part I don't like, because I think that Shang was one of the best things about the original movie, and he was an actual good love interest. Mm-hmm. And so I'm disappointed that he's not going to be in this, and the movie could potentially be not damaged, but it couldn't be as good as it could have been potentially if he's not in the movie. And we just get some...
Yeah, my mind is open on that point, because I don't think... He did serve a purpose. I think that another character could serve the same purpose.
Yeah.
I don't think him specifically is damaging. Like, that purpose needs to be served by any character.
Yeah.
Preferably a male, because the whole point of it is she's going into battle pretending to be a guy.
Yeah, it just sounded like this new character is someone who like gives her a run for her money because he's really strong and he's really good at being a soldier, and she has to compete with that. So, yeah, it could have the same purpose. But it might backfire with China, because then the actress who's playing Mulan was made to comment on something political that's going on in China and Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. And she was told, you have to say this because by the government or something like that. Or that's just what people can infer, because we haven't seen anything about her politically. But now the Chinese are mad at her because she said these things.
Oh, if the Chinese are mad at her, then that's good.
It was something about the Chinese police, though, and she like backed the police and they don't like the police or something.
Oh.
Something like that. Anyway, I don't think that... So they're saying now it might backfire in China if they don't like what the actress has said, but I'll support the movie anyway. I think it looks good. Mulan is my favorite Disney princess, and so I'm glad that my favorite Disney princess... Is
Mulan a Disney princess, though?
They print her on the merchandise, Kelly.
All right, if she's on the merchandise.
She's my favorite. It's my favorite of the Disney animated movies. So to get that actually maybe a good remake, because I always said you need to be looking at what would this story be in live action, not just let's remake this shot by shot, because animation is different than live action. If you say, well, Mulan is a cartoon, maybe it'd be a little silly, maybe it'd be more lighthearted. As a live action movie, maybe it would be more like a war movie, and that's what it's going to be, and so that's why I'm excited about it.
I am excited about Mulan. They totally botched my favorite Disney movie, Beauty and the Beast, and I think I did see Jungle Book, and I wasn't happy with that. That's my second favorite Disney movie. They botched that too, so I've not been happy with how they've handled my favorite Disney movies. The only Disney movie that's a live action remake that I thought was well done was the Cinderella remake. I thought that was a really interesting take on the story, but it didn't damage the character in any way. I thought it enhanced the character. I thought it was a really good rendition, and I hope that this Mulan movie follows in the same course.
Yeah, there will be instrumental versions of the original songs, though.
All right, well, so they're trying to give you as much nostalgia as they possibly can.
We're gonna nostalgia, but we can't because China.
I'm just so... You know what? I'm just so... The fact that they're trying to appeal to China might actually be a benefit to the story in the long run.
Yeah, but China is second only to America in terms of box office right now.
I just have to say that Mr. McFeely thing, I'm still laughing at.
It'll go up in the golden ages of this show.
I want... That's going to be the promo for this show, for sure, but I want a movie.
An R-rated Mr. McFeely movie.
No, it's a Mr. Rogers movie. It's an R-rated Mr. Rogers movie where he goes out into space. He has to sacrifice Mr. McFeely as the thing that he loves most to get the Soul Stone. And what is he going to do with the Soul Stone?
He's going to heal himself so he won't die.
No, he's going to be everyone's neighbor.
He's going to make sure that everyone is neighbors. So they're right next to each other in that little house of his. In that little toy.
No, you know what he's going to do with the Soul Stone? He's going to make those puppets into real people, so it'll be like Pinocchio.
Creepy.
Okay.
Okay.
So, what are we on? Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
everyone's been asking for a Black Widow movie for a long time, but now everyone's saying, well, we've all been asking for this, but it might not sell that well.
Yeah.
It's
Scarlett Johansson, so it's gonna do okay.
It's gonna do good. I think, like, if it's good, it'll get like $700 million, because what's considered bad for a Marvel movie is $600 million, which was what Ant-Man and the Wasp got, and that's why we probably won't get an Ant-Man 3. But I think I'm really looking forward to it because Kelly, you were a bit confused when I told you it's set in Black Widow. It's set after Civil War when it starts out being set there when she leaves Tony Stark and what happened then. And then it's about her past finally catching back up. So we're going to finally explore that, which we've been asking for years. And I know that's a kind of a tender subject. But anyway,
I feel like the Black Widow, the character, got damaged. Black Widow and also the character of the Hulk both got damaged.
Yes, but let's not talk about the negatives.
All right.
I think they are aware that this is the only Scarlett Johansson Black Widow movie they're going to be able to do, because Scarlett said if she wasn't doing this, she'd actually be done, because she's been getting kind of tired. She's been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
So they're pulling out all the stops. They're bringing in all of her villains and important characters from her past. Red Guardian, who she has a very interesting past that I went crazy with when they announced it, because it's such an integral character to who she became and how she changed.
And Yelena Belova is going to be...
Yeah, she's going to be kind of a friendly rival. Like, first she hates her, and then they have to work together, which is kind of true to their relationship.
I really hope that Hawkeye is in it.
They say that Tony Stark is going to cameo because at the end of Civil War he has to show up.
Yeah.
So anything could happen. I think they're going to at least talk about what happened.
I mean, Hawkeye has to be in it because you're talking about integral characters. He was the most integral character.
There. I will be very disappointed if he's not in it, but I hope that I'll still be able to enjoy it, even if not, because I've put my expectations kind of low in terms of the Hawkeye Black Widow stuff, because I've gotten messed over too many times.
Yeah. They just really know how to ruin those two characters.
I'll just say I'm just as of now expecting that he's not going to be in it, because that's just as low as I've come. If he is in it, I will be enraptured.
Yes.
But anyway, they're also having Iron Maiden, who is another person
who's a band.
She's another Black Widow character. She's actually a failed Black Widow who actually changed herself. I think I'm getting it right. She changed herself and did things to herself to make her. Because the whole thing is, everyone is jealous of Natasha because she is the Black Widow. She was the most successful student. Yelena is jealous of her. Iron Maiden is jealous of her. And they're always trying to change themselves to become more like her. Because the Black Widow program is all they've ever known. And it's all they ever aspire to be. And then we've got, for another cast, a villain in the movie, we've got Taskmaster, who is a very famous Avengers villain who's been rumored for a long time. And his whole ability is he can copy anyone else's strength, anyone else's skill, and match them on that level. So he's incredibly hard to defeat because it's like fighting yourself. So with Black Widow, that's going to be interesting to watch. And they've really heavily teased their battle.
I'm looking forward to that movie. I'm trying. I think maybe not necessarily for the same reasons as you are, but I am trying to keep my expectations lower and not really think about that one. Partially because it's 6 or 7 months out, and also just because sometimes Marvel movies are the most fantastic thing I've ever seen, and then other times Marvel movies are the worst thing I've ever seen. Yeah, and so that's why I'm just kind of like, this could be really, really good. It could be mediocre, and it could also be pretty bad.
What we've also got is we've got 3 Black Widow outfits. They're pulling out all the stops because she has a gray and a white outfit in the comics, and so they're going to make her wear a black outfit, a gray outfit, and a white outfit at different points of the movie. I'm
trying to keep my expectations
low.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if Hawkeye is not in it, don't pay no attention. If he is not in it, at least you got nice suits, potentially a good story.
Yeah.
I hope that Kevin Feige has a lot of his hands in it, so he doesn't make the new director do anything weird. Yeah. But the good thing about this new director, they did get a female director, but she is known for doing some darker things, and Black Widow's story
might actually be good.
And also, she is willing to do. This is a offensive word. She has done some more sexual things in her movies. I'm not saying they're not going to go there. They're not going to go there in a Marvel Disney movie. I'm just saying Black Widow that is Black Widow's character, yes. And that's what I'm saying. I think that Feige is going to use kind of how he used James Gunn. He's going to kind of temper the worst parts of her as a director and push out the other parts to try to make this movie. So I hope it's good.
I think it's going to be good. I mean, I think that's true to the integrity of the character. That is what that
Yeah, that is. They haven't even really explored it, except they kind of they've implied it a little bit. Yeah, throughout some movies.
That's what the Black Widows are trained to do.
Yeah. Which is why some of her comics are absolutely unreadable to me, because I don't want to read some of that stuff.
Well, anyway, so I think it's going to be an enjoyable movie. It probably won't be a bouncing off the walls, I'm so excited movie, but leading into a bouncing off the walls, I'm so excited movie is Wonder Woman 1984. I'm very excited for that movie.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for it. They have because they have
a straight jacket. I'm excited for it. Yes.
No, because we got one. This movie was actually delayed. Not they finished it, but they've actually delayed its release because they wanted to see if they could get it in June, and because movies sell a lot better in summer.
Yeah.
So they released a poster so far, which is very colorful, and you see Wonder Woman in new golden armor, which is one of her outfits from the comics. And this one is going to be a bit more of the magical elements of Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. And it's going to have Cheetah, who is her nemesis in the comics, and you saw her a little bit in Justice League, the cartoon. And Steve Trevor is coming back via magic.
Yes.
So we're going to, because they killed off Steve Trevor, I think they always had in mind that they were going to bring him back somehow.
Yeah.
Like, even the way it ended, I was kind of watching the end of Wonder Woman being like, okay, when's he coming back? When's the tease? When's he coming back? There's got to be a tease.
I know, we all knew he was coming back. There was no question that he wasn't coming back.
You got to have Chris Pine. You got to have Chris Pine.
Chris Pine was fantastic. I'm a huge Chris Pine fan. I'm a bigger Chris Pine fan than I am of any of the other Chris's. Chris Hemsworth, garbage. Chris
Hemsworth isn't garbage. He's just kind of a doofy.
What's the other Chris? Chris Pratt, garbage.
Pratt.
Throw them all out.
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. Yes.
He was Captain Kirk, and he was actually pretty good.
I know, his Captain Kirk was phenomenal. Him in Wonder Woman was amazing. I think he's a fantastic actor, and he can really meld into these different characters.
Well, I'll say this for anyone who's worried, there is going to be a little bit of the consequences of bringing Steve Trevor back via magic, so it's not like they're just like, oh, he's dead, and now he's back, and nothing matters. It's not going to be that.
Yeah.
But we're going to see, it's going to be interesting to see Wonder Woman, kind of how she was in the 70s show. I know you stopped watching, but in that show, she became more adjusted to how the world works and how they dress and all that. And so we already see her in some stylish 80s outfits.
Well, I do think it's interesting because that they really have pulled a lot of the elements from that old 70s show.
Yeah.
They even had the actress come and I can't remember how much of a hand she had in the last movie, but she, at the very least, she was touring the sets.
Yeah.
And so they really have tried to make a connection back to that old show, which is why the fact that they're having this set in the 80s is really interesting to me, because the way the 70s show worked,
it went from...
Wait, hang on! The first season was her in World War II, and then the second season was her in modern times, which was the 1970s, and, dressing as if she was, a woman in the workplace in the 70s. And so now we've altered it a little bit, because in the movie it was World War I. Now it's going to be, instead of the 70s, it'll be the 80s, and I'm obsessed with the 80s, so I am thrilled to death with the costuming for this movie. I obsess over these things. Good animation and costuming, I love all that stuff. Obviously, plot and character development are more important than those two things, but when you can have it all, I'm going to take it all.
Yes, and expect some 80s music, I guess, because they're always gonna go for the nostalgia.
Oh, the nostalgia.
Hey guys, 80s music. You like that, don't you?
Oh my gosh, I love
Patty
80s
Jenkins
music.
is the best. She just really gets Wonder Woman. She wanted to do Wonder Woman movies since the 70s, actually. 70s leading into 80s, because that's when the first Superman movies came out, and she said, I want to make a Wonder Woman movie like that. Mm-hmm. So hers are updated, but there's still a lot of elements from the Christopher Reeve Superman. And I think that's why Wonder Woman has survived this kind of modern age where they just mess up so many female leads, because Patty Jenkins had this idea for what she wanted her to be from an older age, and I think it does, because I think men can do female characters very well, but I think Patty Jenkins as a woman really gets what Wonder Woman should be. She shouldn't be this angry feminist, because some people do write Wonder Woman as an angry feminist.
Yeah.
But she kind of gets it where she's very fierce, and she will kill her enemies if she needs to, but she's also a very warm superhero.
Yeah.
And that's what Wonder Woman should be. So, and
I thought that Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman was
untouched.
Untouched.
Nobody can never touch Gal Gadot. No. She's like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, and then there's Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. There's nobody else that can play them.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so that's pretty much the end of the show for today. You guys can like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Ring the YouTube spittoon.
That's right. Ring the darn bell, spit in the spittoon, do all of the things that you're supposed to do.
Throw Mr. McFeely off a cliff.
Oh my god. The best part of this episode was Mr. McFeely.
Oh, and Picard, but Kelly doesn't want to watch Star Trek Picard.
All right, let's give Picard a little bit.
This goes back to January.
Okay.
They're trying to... Okay, CBS All Access. This isn't coming out in the theaters. CBS All Access is failing. So they're trying to get people to buy their show. So they're coming out with this movie called Picard. They're trying to bring it back as much as the original cast of Next Generation and other Star Trek shows like Voyager back as they can. And give Picard kind of his send-off because he never really got that because... The Next Generation ended badly with Nemesis.
I mean, the Next Generation movies were all kind of terrible.
Yeah, so they didn't have a good note to end on, unlike the original series characters.
So I understand that they're trying to give a good ending to the Next Generation that really just didn't get a very good ending. I'm so tired of having my nostalgia strings pulled. It's like everything is pulling the nostalgia strings. This entire market for the last 10, 15 years has been about milking nostalgia, and I'm sick of it, and I'm still giving them my money. Why am I doing this?
It's kind of like how people hate Disney, but everyone is going to have Disney Plus.
I know.
Disney, basically.
Everyone hates Disney, but we're going to give them money for their movies and the Disney Plus, and I'm actually going to go home and get Disney Plus after recording this episode. So, now we're really going to close. Like and subscribe, spit in the spittoon, ring the darn bell, and I will talk to you guys on the next episode.